Now what Jews the oh shit. Okay.
We back, baby. We back. My partner said he couldn't let it ride, LL Nation. He said he could not let it ride. We had to get to it. He had to see. He had something to say. Lucky Lucky
I
Podcast.
mean, no, I mean we knew it was coming. CJ committing. We knew that was gonna happen. I think Dante said even at the OT7, he said that I guess he knew CJ was gonna go commit a long time ago. Now I didn't know that they were on the same 7-on-7 team and CJ was his backup, which I think, from an ego's perspective, he probably really not worried about it. He like, man, I already know, what he's getting from a guy like that. So I believe him when he said that he's not worried about it and Notre Dame is still high on his board. But then again, man, you in a situation where you get in a position of Notre Dame and a program like that. There's a lot of things that you can't control as well. It's like bigger than just being the better player. Shit, I always thought I was the better quarterback my whole time there, but it doesn't always uh, work out the way you believe. I do think that's something to consider. I think a lot of what CJ brings is bigger than just being a great quarterback. I think he even played. Dante even mentioned a little bit about just getting a quarterback within the same state and just how there's things as a quarterback that you think of that's you know not a like you said, not a receiver's thinking about. It's 4 or 5 receivers go to a school. So for him being the number one quarterback like he is, and his circumstances, he's really enjoying the process. And I think in times like these, you really gotta trust his dad and his relationship. And we talked about a little earlier, the strength of their relationship usually uh, gives them the best outcome um, without external influence. So I think they know their plan on what they want to do. But at the same time, Notre Dame is going to be Notre Dame, and we're going to continue to recruit. Marcus Freeman is not dictating classes based off of a kid. We're going to set it up, though. We're going to set up the play for you to get the one-on-one, in the post. Easy matchup. You're going to get the mismatch for you. But, if you don't score, you kick it out. We still got shooters. You know what I mean? We still got guys that's going to get the job done. So, it's one of those high recruiting stakes. I think these are the stories that you want to be in as Notre Dame's program taking that next step. You want to be in top conversations like these. It's funny to always keep hearing. It's always funny to keep hearing LSU just always in somebody's top, even though they're not the favorite. They just always seem to be, always seem to be in there. Like what Coach Kelly got in there cooking up down there and
Oh,
in Baton Rouge. Every time I hear something from recruit, they always just tossing in at LSU. Or maybe it's just the greatness of the school. But another thing too, I mean, this is not making it any easier for Notre Dame and picking a franchise guy, at least for the 2 to 3 years that the fans will know. I think what made a lot of these schools distinct, it was Ohio State found a way to make it real fluent. You go from a great guy like Terrell to a
man.
guy like Braxton to a guy like JT. And then JT played 4 years, but within that, you got to see guys like Dwayne and just the way Ohio State has handled their situation has been really, really nice. Alabama has handled their situation really, 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 really nice. So you can tell by the way programs handle their quarterback situation is what usually continues and builds that dynasty that they have. So
Right.
Clemson has been really good at it. They even had to make some tough decisions with their guy before Trevor Lawrence, but you got Trevor Lawrence, so they were able to make good ways with that. So it would be interesting to see Texas A&M. I think their mistake in building their dynasty was mishandling the quarterback situation, which we've talked about earlier. Those two were guys that were kind of close, but CJ and Dante are even more close within they're coming up through the quarterback game, even though one's older and one's younger. Both are both talented and projected all-stars, but is Notre Dame built to handle a situation like that this early? We'll see. Tommy's still a young guy as an OC and a coach in general. Yeah, not like he been just got the OC job after 15 years of slaving around the college football world. He's still a very young guy himself in the coaching game, and handling hot prospects like this is probably different for him. So I think Marcus Freeman is presenting a challenge, yet it's something that is required in making that transition. You got to go through that lake of fire, and this is one of those things that you got to go through. Uh, for Dante, I don't think it. I think it's in the back of his mind, but I don't think it's going to determine in totality his decision on Notre Dame. I think it does uh, put some thoughts in his head on how some future outcomes can be. I think if he was a revisionist of history, I think he should look at history and the history of how the program uh, does situations like that. So it's interesting. Now, you do have a situation where in Notre Dame history, Ron Paulus beat out Peyton Manning and come into Notre Dame. And that's an interesting story in of itself and how that developed. Who knows what if Ron Paulus didn't beat out Peyton Manning and Peyton Manning came too? And then, who would have known? So I think that this builds into why Notre
He
Dame's Notre
definitely
Dame.
got the wrong quarterback in that one. Go ahead, bro.
But those are, shoot, we denied Randy Moss and all type of stuff. So I think there's moments where we can be like Chicago and take a Mitch Trubisky and miss out on Deshaun Watson. It could be something like that. So I think there's a lot of possibilities, but I do think the overall uh, the biggest benefit is shoot if we can grab both of them and then at least go from there. So I think there's still recruiting on CJ's part that we're going to have to do, even though he sold early, maybe to the love of what's going on. But a year and a half is a long time to recruit a kid, even though he's bought in, and a lot can happen. So uh, that's a project in of itself. I think for Dante is getting closer to calling it anyway. So we'll see what happens.
Dante is definitely on his rich homie Quan.
Yeah,
Yeah, he feels some type of way.
he feels some type of
He
way.
feels some type of way. He does. He absolutely feels some type of way. Hold on.
I think if anybody, Tyler Buckner needs to be on his A game today
Facts. Facts.
because we are not waiting on no development for you, unfortunately. So your ass better go in there and play your ass off.
Yeah. But Dante feels some type of way. And this is something I said on the earlier show. Welcome in. We didn't even introduce the show. We just started off talking, bro. Lucky Lefty podcast. Oh, and another thing. This is an annex or addition to the episode I did by myself earlier today because Lucky was taking care of business with IPC. Just got off of the commitment Twitter Spaces with Elijah Paige. 4-star offensive tackle committing to Notre Dame today. Notre Dame might get, if I'm reading the tea leaves, there's a possibility they get 3 more commitments this weekend.
We getting close to the number, right? 25, isn't it?
So it might go down. But like you said, he feels some type of way, bro. He does. He can say, he showed respect. He said he kept it low key to, let CJ have his moment. He knew CJ was coming. But the shine that CJ is getting,
It's a little bit too much now.
he knows it was his. He knows it was his. And it's like, I should have been the dude. I should have been the quarterback that everybody
Is
thankful for. Absolutely. But like you said, he trusts who he trusts. I also said on the earlier show, in 10 to 14 days, his best friend and his boy is going to make his announcement. I think it impacts how much longer he wants to be out there. That's just the way I look at it. I think he'll be ready to make his announcement quicker than people think. All of that talk about taking it deep into the season and all of that. Look, and no one in his top 5 has a recent track record of producing quarterbacks. No one. Nobody.
Shit, we not either.
That's what I'm saying. So that's
So
why
it's not like we got no
when
advantage.
you brought up LSU, I laughed. Like they definitely don't have a track record. Not with the dude they have as head coach.
And they got a messy situation now.
Dude, they have what, 4 dudes in the quarterback room right now with no clear starter?
No. And they're not gonna have no clear start the whole season.
No. But we know that from history.
Yeah, we know. Yeah, we know. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I'm like, why would you go down there, Jaden? Good grief.
So ultimately, you seem to think that his decision comes before the start of his season.
If somebody wows him in these last little visits he got, he'll probably pull the trigger on something like that, considering what would, in my opinion, be annoying just to deal with. Like you said, I wish that was not wish, but that was the shine that he, was looking forward to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure he probably would have received it if he committed earlier, but he didn't have to. So I do think that kind of happens when you let the cake sit out. You might have a fly or two on it. You know what I mean? So I do think that personally, if I was him in his situation, I would be thinking a lot more about it than I would say, because I just would feel as though knowing the place and kind of how it's been, the narrative is spinning, it's going to be complicated the whole time I'm there.
Yeah.
Especially if Tyler's worth a damn, you know what I mean? They going to want to hold on to that too. So
Yeah.
it's really going to be equal footing by the time we really get on track. And that's going to be an issue. So I think that's my future prediction. If he was to commit, that by the time that it shakes out, they're going to be on equal footing on competing for the QB spot, because Tyler's going to win 9 games. You know what I mean? That's just going to happen, So because of that, he's probably going to play well enough to earn him enough to start the next year. So by that time, CJ going to be in there. And then is we going to be dang, who going to play? So
but he's still 24. He said he's not reclassifying yesterday. So
no, I'm saying counting the fact, because you saying, boom, Tyler starting that second year, Dante will be there.
Right.
After Tyler leaves or whatever, shit, if he plays great, he stays. But let's say perfect world, Tyler thinking league leaves that second year, CJ and Dante are on equal footing, in my opinion, as a coach, because neither one of them has played enough for me to just throw him out there. And we done already, he probably at that time, CJ had built the class and then got people a hype. He done got in school early, this, that, and the third. So that spring game is going to be 50-50. It's just going to be an ever-ending cycle. If I'm Dante's dad, that's what I'm telling CJ. I'm the Dante. So I do think that just because of the year where he's committed at is just complicated the future of what it would be like there, because they not gonna not give him a chance. So whether Dante blow it out the water or not, CJ gonna find his way snooping around that starting spot. And if that's something Dante feels as though he can overcome, I don't know. I just think that's just for his talent. In hindsight, if I had to do it again, shit, I'm going somewhere where I ain't got to worry about that shit. I'm gonna keep it a whole thing. It'd be about getting to the league at that point. It'd be like, look, I can see the writing on the wall. Let me go ahead and slide to one of these little regular schools. I know I got the talent to go. I know I'm getting 4 guaranteed years. And then you throw me a little Look, NIL cash,
Yeah, yeah,
recruit will be overrated. Now, this is a hindsight Malik talking after going to 2 schools, doing a transfer,
right.
going through all that. But hindsight, let me take the little Purdue route. Give me a little $4 million bag or
Right,
something.
right, right,
Call it a day. And then that would all depend on how I play.
right.
And that's at the end, that's what you want. You just wanted to be like, shoot, we can't recruit nobody this high. Even if we did, we locked in. You signed for a lot of money. You got 3 years to mess it up. I can live with that because at that point, it's on my talent. You get to a place like Alabama or, Notre Dame or a Clemson. At this point, you rolling the dice. Even being good. Shoot, look at Gunna Kill coming in at the national championship year. He thinking Ev gone. He like, well shit, Tommy old, kick rocks, Tommy. I'm about to roll in this thing 5-star.
Right.
End up leaving before spring. End up leaving before he even really got involved too heavily. So um I think it's just a lot of stories to look at in college football, and history needs to be something you need to be well versed in. Uh, if he wanted to make it easy, I think he's got a lot of schools where he can go tomorrow and play.
Yeah,
But what's it really about? Are you trying to take the hardest road to get there and play politics, or you want to lean on your talent, take the lesser school and see what happens?
oh, got a question from John Reedy. Malik, given your history at the QB1 position, would you agree that QB1 for opening day is based upon past performances in big games?
Football is based on what you've done for me lately. And I think within that, a lot of times it depends on who you got running the team. Some coaches are more on the end of like the trend where you trying to start the younger, flashier, hotter guy. Some coaches really like security and take the guy to take the most snaps, even though he may have reached his ceiling and you know what you're getting from it. Some guys are more comfortable that way. So I do think it depends on that. Now, if I'm coaching, I'm taking, the updated resume of the guy that can most help the team win. And, I think there's respect within the natural order of how you handle quarterback situations. But then again, it's like it's about production. So I do think that big game is all that really matters. If I'm at Notre Dame, big game matters to me. That's all that really matters. I don't really care too much about your numbers. Can you win the game? Shit. Because that's where we are as a program. It's about winning the game. It ain't even about, we've already proved that we can have the winningest quarterback ever. We already proved that.
Right,
So as
right,
a
right,
fan base, that's not what we, if I'm Marcus Freeman, that's not what I care about.
right.
I need a guy that, I don't care if you throw 100 picks. If we in a game against USC for all the marbles, he's going to Brett Favre his way to a win. So
Yeah,
that's a circumstance. That's a situation that, do you want to put yourself in? Then you go to a school like Virginia Tech and just go out there and do your thing. Psh, whatever. Big game is not as important. I'm trying to win the conference. You go anywhere in the Big Ten, they don't care nothing about championships. They want to beat Ohio State. So that's just, a quarterback has to fit that situation. So for me, I think I would I would do it the right way, but a lot of coaches have their ways of coaching.
yeah. Um, I see people talking about in the chat, and I said it on the previous show. Um, the chances of CJ Carr reclassifying are slim to none.
You
And
don't
if,
need to.
and if he was reclassifying, it would impact Dante Moore, and Dante Moore would not have said
Obviously.
that last night. So CJ Carr is not classifying, man. Not reclassifying.
He's not. But the thought of him possibly doing it.
But the biggest reason is because of the academic standards at Notre Dame. Reclassifying at Notre Dame is totally different than reclassifying at some normal state school. Yeah. It's totally different. So the process was nah. And like I said, ultimately, all these reports you heard about Notre Dame had fully backed away and all that stuff. It's like we told you 2 episodes ago, like, nah.
I mean, you can infer that they would. Obviously, if I'm recruiting, I'm trying to get everybody. I can give a damn. So on the front page, it's plausible deniability.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Of course, you're going to say we want everybody because it's recruiting. That's the game. I want all of them. I'm not about to sit here and deny 5-star. Are you crazy? So you can always deny plausibly on that because everybody would agree that of course you would want both of them. Now, in reality, if you had to look at it surface deep, if you were 2 great introspective journalists on the Lucky Lefty podcast, you would assume that how it would naturally work out is that, yeah, Dante ain't coming because he's committed and he ain't dealing with the shit. That's an easy inference to make from a situation like that, knowing Notre Dame's history, not only on quarterback situations, but just quarterback development in general. Yeah. And they quarterbacks don't look like Dante. Yeah. So it's a lot of things that I'm sure his dad would be having this conversation with him because it's real.
But
and all them stars and talent matter.
Their fathers are the same. I point that out today. Their fathers are huge Michigan fans. Both their fathers, huge Michigan fans. Both of them want their son to be the guy.
Yeah. It's
I think
it's too much of the same thing.
I think CJ just had his moment of clarity. CJ canceled visits. He had 2 weeks of visits left.
Yeah.
CJ came back.
CJ said, "I'm going. And was not waiting on nothing."
Right.
I'm not waiting on nothing.
Right. And that's the only difference. Dante has to have that.
And I'm not going to lie. And I'm not going to lie. That's exactly what happened in my recruitment to Notre Dame. Coach Martin went up there and was like, listen, this is why I know the situation. Coach Martin. Now, I'm not saying maybe it's a Coach Martin thing or maybe it's just a Notre Dame thing.
Mm-hmm.
We sat down after my visit. Now, this was 2022. I'm sure it would be Irish invasion, but at the time, it was the visit like this weekend.
Okay.
On the day.
Right.
Just like this weekend. We had a great visit. Cool. Everybody great. At the end, we sat down. Coach Martin was like, look, we taking one. Is you committing by the time next week turnover? If you don't, then Buddy gonna commit. Mm-hmm. Which was the Northwestern quarterback. I forgot his damn name. Matt Avaliti or some shit.
Yeah. I remember that kid. Yeah.
Avaliti. So Coach Martin said, look, if you don't commit after this visit, I can't say no to Matt, and we only taking one. So I went home and committed.
That leverage.
And you never heard of Avaliti again.
That leverage, dude, which Notre Dame has to feel that they have.
So from doing it, I would say as a throwing it out there, Dante, I wouldn't go. I wouldn't go for me appreciating your talent as an individual. Obviously, I want you to come to Notre Dame, but knowing how I went through it, I wouldn't want to be on that other side if I was Matt Avaliti. Because even if they take you, they're going to have to take you.
From Maine South.
They're going to have to take
you. Yeah, I remember him.
They're going to have to take you, Dante.
Matt Alviti from Maine South. He's a Chicago kid.
He was going to commit.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. He was going to commit. Yes, he was going to commit. So If I'm Dante, I wouldn't. I'll be like, okay, I can read this as a sign to move on.
Right. Right.
Because CJ's moment of clarity is like that shit is not going away. You think he committing a year and a half early over all the circumstances to go to school and not think he finna play? Are you serious?
Out here retweeting
If I'm
Elijah
Dante, I'm
Page's
not dealing with that.
out here
Hmm?
retweeting Elijah Page's tweet and commitment.
Yeah,
You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, yeah.
Fully invested.
He working harder. He's working harder than you by
Right.
default because he's
Right.
recruited so early. So
Because he
he's
committed.
like, man, this is my school.
Right. Right. Facts.
And he's like, look, bro, I've been sitting behind you. I know your game. You know, we done played on the same team. I'm gonna one up you because I know you waiting on it.
Right.
You just slow.
Right.
That's all it is.
Right.
And it's just,
Right.
I think it's one of those life lessons
And I'm gonna be
that
honest.
Dante, do not be fooled. Do not be fooled
I'm gonna
and
be
think this
honest.
ain't real life.
I'm gonna be honest. I think CJ Carr's father wanted to play the same game.
Oh yeah.
He wanted
He
to
said,
straighten
"Oh,
out.
we got to beat Dante."
He wanted to see the
He said,
possibilities.
he
But
said, "We don't beat Dante. If we don't pull his card right now, we not gonna have the leverage ever. We not because
moment
he's
of
gonna be a
clarity.
year ahead."
It's that
So he
moment
said,
of
"Look,
clarity,
we're
man.
making this decision." And I know in the back of Coach Marcus Freeman's mind, he likes committed guys. That has to mean something for that coaching staff. They can pull this off 5-star year and a half early and not go
Mhm.
through this saga next year. He has to. Marcus Freeman can't not respect that enough to. Tommy Rees gonna respect it. You know, Tommy Rees ready, but Marcus Freeman can't. Even if he comes, he can't sit there and look past that active commitment to the school.
Right.
So if I'm Dante and being going through a situation like that, being on the other side of it, I was like, I wish Matt Bellini would think he would commit. I wish he would think he was commit. But
I mean, it's different because
like
they're
I was
different
the
years,
same way
but
as
yeah.
I was the same way as CJ though, because I committed so early. I recruited the class. I'm the one that got Will. I'm the one that was played for Jalen. I was the
Mhm.
one for Tarian and Greg Bryan, and that was me and Mike and James and Devin Butler. I got Corey Robinson. I got it. Me. All of them. So I take a lot of credit for the class I built because I committed so early. So I know that's what CJ's thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's just the chips, unfortunately, in this situation. If I'm Dante, I'm not fooling with it because why? I'm not needing Notre Dame. I'm a
Right.
5-star guy.
Right.
Nebraska would take me tomorrow, and I wouldn't hear nothing about a quarterback till I leave.
Right.
So,
Right. Facts.
so
Facts.
and I get some love from Nebraska. Nebraska fans are great, are great, are great. So I don't know. I mean, if I was Dante, man, listen, I would love for him to come. Notre Dame wouldn't deny him,
No.
but you don't want to deal 3-4 years with that. That's just that's just what it is. Because Lord forbid, like I said, Lord forbid Tyler Buckner go in there and try to Ian book his way through this. It's gonna be crazy because somebody's gonna leave.
But see what that lasts
If
though.
Tyler Buckner like, look,
You know, what that lasts,
that's
especially if you
they
know
gonna
you have a guy behind
either
him.
Tyler Buckner is either gonna be #1 draft pick,
Oh, absolutely.
a transfer, or a replacement. It ain't no riding nothing out because they gonna push him out the door if he playing too good by year 2. Especially if we get Dante too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they could be like, oh, we're not trying to let guys leave. So
Right.
Tyler Buckner, this your NFL year. Your
Fact.
ass better get to
Fact.
going.
Fact.
Which is it puts pressure on him. That's why I'm like, this is
Yeah.
Tyler's year. You better go in there and not fool around with no Drew Payne, no Drew Pine. Don't go in there
Yeah.
and fool around with that. Because you fool
Yeah.
around with him, you don't have no timetable. And that's just speaking college football. I don't care what nobody say, because you don't got more than a couple years anyway.
Facts.
And if I'm Tommy Marcus Freeman, I'm like, look, we got these 3 in the hand right here. We got it. How Alabama do it?
Yeah. Lucky
So
Lefty
this
Podcast.
this is huge. This is huge.
Lucky Lefty Podcast brought to you by Onora Whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. That premium American whiskey, OnoraWhiskey.com. It's the perfect way, perfect nightcap after Notre Dame dub. Set it up. Go get some right now for September 3rd. But that's how we ended that night. Nice dub, sip on some Onora whiskey. And we got some more stuff coming down the pipeline. Charlie White's last belt loop. Thank you. Malik, off topic, but what made you choose Florida? Also, did you and Everett have a Florida pact? Interesting, you both ended up in Florida and Florida State, in the state of Florida.
I don't know why Ed chose Florida State. Obviously, Florida State is my favorite school growing up, and I was really interested in going to Florida State. But the year I was really interested, obviously, had Jameis. I'm like, I ain't about to follow James. Are you kidding me? Absolutely not. So I wrote that one off like real quick. But I had bought like all the little merch online. I had the sweatpants, I had the lanyard, I had big
Did you have
Florida
a starter
State
jacket?
That's it, Jameis. I had to start it. I was
They had
fresh.
a fresh starter jacket.
I wish I could. Yeah, I was fresh. And so I thought it was destiny because I didn't know why I liked him so much. I thought it was destiny for me to go to Florida State. And then it was just crazy because Jameis at that time, boom, once he committed, it was over with. And then Gunner went to ND, but I was like, I can beat Gunner out. Like, what the heck? But when it came to Florida State, I went to Florida because Charlie Fry was down there, and Charlie Fry was a really good guy. I had a really strong relationship with from a student and a teacher type of thing. I felt like the knowledge I could have got from him, I can't get too many other places because he's been a lot of places that, football is a game of learning it from the right people. A lot of people go in there and try to break down X and O's, but learn it from the right people that know certain things that can't get too many places. So I felt like doing it in the SEC, learning from Charlie Fry, going, doing the whole route. So I thought that was the perfect setup for me. It didn't work out that way, but at that point I was like, yeah, maybe Florida isn't the vacation spot. I tried to tell Brandon, I definitely mentioned it to Brandon on some joking shit, but he ended up coming down here too. So yeah, if you trying to transfer out of Notre Dame, don't come get flushed down the toilet down in Florida. That's for sure.
All right, man. We'll be back Monday with an update on the recruiting weekend. Just a tidbit right now. It is 4 people. They're only taking 5 on the offensive line right now. They sit at 4: Pendleton, Paige, Otting, and Apsher. 1 spot left. 2 dudes: Monroe Freeland, Charles Jagasaw. Who gets the spot?
Hey, we do got to get Ev on the show. I would love to get Ev on the show.
We gotta get Ev on the show, bro.
We gotta find him first. Ev, if you out there,
I don't think
if you out there,
if I had to, I think Jagasaw gets the spot because I think Notre Dame is at the top of his list. I don't think
at this point it's like Notre Dame can sit back and be like, y'all better.
I don't think
like the Joker. The Joker cracked the pool stick and threw the pool stick in there and said, all right, I'm only taking one. I better figure it out.
I don't see Freeland committing this weekend, but when Jagasaw comes in, it's a good chance that he does. I'll leave it at that. So it's really not about who's the better player. It's about, who wants this spot? We got 1 left. Who wants this spot? Now, can they choose to go to 6? If they want to.
That 2024 class gonna come though. So
man,
decisions made. That better be. It's a good time for Notre Dame football, man, and the hottest podcast in the world, the Lucky Lefty podcast,
right here. So we'll check your guys out Monday. We had to come back. Another thing. My brother was doing his IPC thing, getting ready for the Elijah Paige commitment. Crazy morning. but he had to come back and let LL Nation know his thoughts on CJ Carr, Dante Moore, and everything else. So, for the dude,
Dante, man, I love your talent, man. Save yourself. I'm not saying don't come, but man, listen. Like what Carnante say?
We keep it 100. We keep it 100. We keep it 100.
Look,
now Tommy could be
good. So
Tommy could be totally different than his predecessor. He could be totally different in the way he handles.
I don't think Coach Kelly hires somebody that he don't embed as he leaves, because I have never seen nothing like that. You are second year offensive coordinator. Second-year offensive coordinator, you just get grandfathered in the second year.
He's been set free, bro. He's been set free.
Man, you gotta see. It's the same thing.
You think he's Anakin?
I'll give you some religion.
You think he's Anakin?
I'll give you some quick
Luke.
Huh?
You think he's Anakin and he's really Luke?
No, I think Tommy is a better version of what's the remnants of what Notre Dame had for 10 years. It's hard to say Tommy's not a part of that very, very intricately. Like, that's why I say I was giving you a religious fact, a religious analogy. So if Moses studied in Egypt for 40 years and then he went out to the desert and killed a man to protect his brother, to find out he was really a Hebrew or a Jew or whatever, right? After 40 years, you can't say, how do you say now I'm something different? If that's your school of thought, you learn everything there, how can you say you something different? That's something to think about. So, no, I don't think he's like what we had, but I do think that you're not getting that job if you're not thinking like him. I'll tell you that.
Could be.
But I do think Tommy has done a lot of things that Coach Kelly would never, like the Fiesta Bowl, like the Florida State game. Tommy's got great ability. I'm just saying. But if you look at that quarterback situation, that ain't changed. So what are we talking about? That's keeping it real.
Lucky Lefty podcast, man. Go check us out. A2S Network on Apple Podcasts, Instagram, SD2 Mics, Twitter, SD2 Mics, at Malik Zaire 8 on Twitter, at Overtime Malik on Instagram. Everybody's in Vegas this weekend, but they'll be coming your way in a couple of weeks, bro. June 28th through the 30th, Elite 11, LA. Of course, you know who won the MVP yesterday at the first day of the 7-on-7, right?
It's that guy, man.
It's that guy.
Like you really you don't need us, but we want you for sure.
Yeah, it was none other than Dante Moore, man. Look, he's a dude. He's a dude. It's like it's no getting around it. Like he's a guy. Like
getting around.
That's why I said the other day, like if the staff is kind of upset, you have to get over that. Like it is what it is. This is new territory.
It's not like he chose us over like a Wake Forest or something, because then it'd be like, okay, that's on us.
Yeah.
This is like, it's you catch him if you can kind of thing.
All right. So from Malik Zaire, I'm Sean Davis, man. Spend it different today. We'll see you guys Monday. Thanks for joining us on Oh and Another Thing, CJ Carr.